Welcome to Stars Launch Pod, where we chat with innovators who are overcoming challenges, pushing boundaries, and collaborating to make space more accessible and sustainable for humanity, one launch at a time.
It's one small step for man.
Here's your host, Susan Wise.
Hi, and welcome to STARS Launch Pod, Space Technology and Research Sciences, brought to you by starsciences.org, where we connect, collaborate, and accelerate. I'm your host, Susan Wise, and joining us in Launch Pod today is Dan Harkins. He builds spacecrafts, and apparently he can control the weather. Is that right?
Not exactly. That's a little bit of hyperbole, but I don't control the weather yet. But I will control the most advanced forecast.
All right. You are COO of Tropical Weather Analytics, right?
Yes.
That's Chief Optimistic Officer.
Not so much optimism lately because climate change is going in the wrong direction, but we'll go with that.
Okay. Tell us more about what you do and what's happening.
So I'm on the technology and business side. We are developing Hurricane Hunter satellites. We have been in space already. It is the culmination of almost $200 million in over 10 years, and then 5 years on the space station for us to develop the technology. The Hurricane Hunter satellites launch next year, and these will provide 12-hour earlier and 2 times more accurate hurricane forecasts, but also collect 3D wind and cloud data to improve routine and extreme weather forecasts. So we're not just hurricanes anymore. A lot of people think, well, weather's free, so why would I want to pay for that? But there is practical applications that having better and earlier forecast has value for governments, just for planning and preparation, saving lives, businesses. We help incentives for them to reduce their carbon footprint by having them use weather to their advantage, using less fuel, less electricity, less so they can do what's good for the planet as well as for their bottom line. So that's kind of where Hurricane Hunters will settle in there.
That's amazing. I spent 20 years in South Florida, so I have hunkered down numerous times preparing for systems coming through, hurricanes, tropical storms, all of that. So the more notice and the more accurate we can get, I say all the better. That's amazing.
Yeah, for sure. Florida is obviously, and anywhere in the Caribbean as well, are kind of like our main places where we really want to help. Our revisit rate is quite higher as well as resolution. So every 2.5 hours, we'll be able to improve the forecast. We have a unique modeling system that we use. So places like Miami, Miami is just like right there, almost in the middle of the ocean. So that early warning really helps protect infrastructure and get assets in place and people out of harm's way a little bit earlier, and the right people. Like, I think the strange thing about weather, especially hurricanes, is there's such a psychological component to it. So if you're not accurate, people are like, well, there's 10% chance that it won't hit us, so maybe I don't have to evacuate. So we really want to help take that aspect out of it with more accurate, more reliable forecasts for sure.
Absolutely. When I lived there, I remember you have certain television stations that you follow. You have one that's like all panic and crying wolf, and then you have the other ones that are like a little more lackadaisical about it. What you want is current and accurate, dependable information. That's awesome that you're working on this. What else are you working on to maybe affect the space industry?
How we will affect the space industry, I think, as a commercial case of going from such a research base, having this long life cycle, but yet we started off as a really large satellite when this first got started, a 2,000 kilogram satellite. So showing the commercial space industry that we can get smaller as technology is developed, and certainly leveraging our launch provider aims to have a cadence of getting small satellites to space faster and cheaper. It'll be one more option for getting there. So I think that's where we'll come in, is really that practical and commercial side of the small satellite industry, and that it's really about why we are in this business. Yes, we want to save lives. Yes, we want to help out with that. But we are a business at the end of the day. And so showing off these test cases, I think, will be really helpful because we're mindful of our markets, and maybe some space companies that are coming on or trying to come on, they're kind of have a model of, well, we have more data and we have better data, but applying that data, like, nobody really beats a path to your door if you build a better mousetrap. You really have to show them how the mousetrap works and how the mousetrap helps them. A lot of people don't know they have mice. So if you show them that and commercially how it can work, I think that's where we really will help out the industry.
And let me ask you this. Would this take place of like hurricane hunters flying into systems, or would this go hand in hand? I know it's a dangerous thing to do when they do that.
Yeah, I've been angling to get on there. I've known people who have flown on them, so I'm angling to get on some of the aircraft. We are a complementary measurement to the aircraft. The aircraft can't get the cloud top altitudes, and they drop sondes from about the middle of the storm and drop their radio sondes. So we will be definitely complementary to the Hurricane Hunter aircraft, but we are the only country with a fleet of Hurricane Hunter aircraft. So some use military planes to fly into it, but overall, they do not have the capability to get what is provided by NOAA's fleet. So we are a substitute for those countries that don't have that, and a much cheaper one. The Hurricane Hunter aircraft costs anywhere between 250 to 300 million a year just to run that operation and maintain things. So for a fraction of that, we can provide a hurricane forecast and those types of observations every 2.5 hours for 1/100th of the cost.
When it comes to tropical weather analytics, your company, tell us about one of your aha moments.
Certainly my aha moment is I was on the other side of this. I wanted to build these satellites. I was initially on the side of satellite manufacturing. And so when this project came across my desk at first, I thought, well, good luck. There's a lot of companies that are trying to do weather, and weather is a tough game, commercial weather, because you have to get over the fact that a lot of people are like, well, I get weather for free. So certainly, yes, we do, but we also rely on billions of dollars in government assets that we all paid for to actually get that free, quote unquote, weather. So my aha moment was once I understood the modeling and how this can reduce the errors that are inherent in current models and that we're getting this unique feature, it really became super interesting. That was my aha moment of, oh, this is a huge difference maker. And then we had the aha moment when we talked to meteorologists and they told us, well, yeah, hurricanes are nice, but you're getting 3D wind data that we've been after forever. So, that improves our weather models to such a high degree. And that was kind of a good aha moment as well. And that, hey, we can change a lot by providing weather where it's needed most for extreme weather forecast, because it does affect, unfortunately, areas that don't have weather radar infrastructure necessarily. So we can help there. But just that was a big aha moment. But the aha moment was this real deal business case studies where we can save companies a lot of money and they would like to reduce their emissions. Emissions actually cost money. Aviation would like to reduce the fuel that they use per flight. Shipping vessels would really like to reduce the fuel that they use per voyage. So these satellites fit right into there. And that's this really helps in a lot of ways. And that gets me excited. And the aha moment has certainly become people in those industries telling me where we help.
I think back to Andrew, and I remember Andrew was going to a different place than we thought. At the last minute, it changed and caught a lot of people off guard when Andrew came through Florida. So having that accurate information, and had they known that and how the winds, because hurricanes, it's a guess. The trajectory is a best guess, and you have the cone of uncertainty. But the more that we can isolate that and have up-to-date information, I think is really important. What's been one of your biggest challenges during this, and how did you overcome that?
I think the biggest challenge is definitely, as we pivoted to commercial, we were killing it as far as funding wise and getting to the space station and developing the technology. Had a lot behind it to get there. But as we pivoted to commercial, the appetite for space kind of went down a little bit at the time that we decided, hey, let's start to pivot to commercialization. And the other side of that was explaining to people how to make money off of weather. It is tricky. A lot of even commercial weather companies have a hard time making that argument, because if you're free, how much more value can you add over free? So I think that's been the most difficult part, is really locking in that communication of this is how we help. And it's a viable commercial vehicle for us and for investors. So really getting that extra funding to get us to space has definitely been the most challenging part.
Got to get the word out there and let them realize what we have here. You have any advice you'd like to share with our listeners today?
I think it depends on what the passion might be for the listener, but if you can, what's that old thing? If you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. It's not really about finding your passion necessarily, because somebody's passion may not be economically viable, but for certain, pursue your interest. I think that's what is fulfilling for most parts. Like you mentioned Hurricane Andrew. One thing I love about weather and space in general is it has these bizarre connections that you never thought you would uncover. Like there's a rumor that Hurricane Andrew actually released a lionfish from an aquarium, and this created the invasive problem that Florida suffers with now. It's true, but not 100% true. Like there's some truth to that, but definitely climate changes and warming waters are making lionfish, and hurricanes actually do drive it because of how the currents roll. And so they can get these invasive species into places where they normally wouldn't be during those storms. So it's really interesting how that has a lot of tendrils, I guess you'd say, and how it's all interconnected and web. So I think that that's like my biggest advice is if you pursue what you're curious and interested in, you'll find interesting connections that do become a business or help your business or help your career.
What about a passion project, maybe either past or present, that you'd like to mention?
I think this is 1,000% my passion project. Did the TV thing once. That did not work out at all. I made a terrible TV pilot. So a lot of the writing game for sure and film thing. But spaceships and weather, that's my forte. Those are my passions.
If somebody wanted to reach out to you and wanted whether support or wanted more information, how would they do that?
Finding me on my LinkedIn, Dan Harkins. I'm the only one that makes spaceships and controls the weather, so you can find me there pretty easy. And weathersats.com is where our website is, and we're always pretty accessible there if you want to talk to our science team or myself.
I think what you're doing is fantastic. It's important. It's a must. You know, these things have got to happen, and just saving lives, saving money and businesses and people. I think that's important work. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing your journey with us. Dan, we appreciate talking to you today.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate the opportunity to talk about our mission.
All right. Make sure you join us where we connect, collaborate, and accelerate. And if you enjoyed this episode, leave us a review and subscribe. Until next time, keep looking up.
Don't miss an episode. Subscribe on your favorite streaming platform. Watch us on YouTube and follow us on social media. Stars Launch Pod, propelling us forward, one launch at a time.